So I was 24 at the time of diagnosis, and I was having some symptoms. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma. So some of these symptoms might sound familiar if you're familiar with that type of cancer. But once active treatment ends and your doctors are like, okay, you're good, we'll see you in a few months for your scans. It's this like really scary feeling of like, wait, now what? Like, you're not watching me. I'm terrified that the cancer is going to come back. Yeah, it's just so cool that I think we're taught that we don't really like have control over our health. And in reality, we really do. We just need to learn because women, we're not taught anything about our hormones or our health until we want to have babies. So I always say, like, we have made food and health so confusing. Like, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the macronutrients that we need, fiber and micronutrients that we need.
I really feel an advocacy to reclaim that. I mean, I just want to shout from the rooftops for, women to kind of step up and step into your own power, because we are amazing human beings, and we really deserve that recognition. Well, hello and welcome to today's episode of Health University, where we talk about all things fertility, pregnancy, and perimenopause, and learn the lessons of life that many of us are going through. Today, we're going to focus on fertility, and I'm so grateful to have with us Maddie Pollock. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly? Is it Pollock?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
great. So Maddie and I know each other through a group called Matrikas, which is a group of practitioners committed to helping improve the fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum experience of women. And Maddie is going to share with us some really personal insights. I'm really grateful for that. I'm going to just take a moment, Maddie, to read your bio. So forgive me if I look to the side here. Maddie is an integrative nutrition health coach, a hormone health coach, and a yoga instructor. Having survived cancer at 25 years old, she dove into the world of wellness and received her hormone health coach certification, which changed her life forever in the best way. She works one-on-one and in group settings with clients to help them balance their hormones naturally, to lose weight, and to live in tune with their cycles and become more confident in their bodies. Through the pillars of nutrition, movement, and mindfulness, very similar to those that are the pillars of traditional Chinese medicine, she emphasizes a whole body approach with her clients and is passionate about helping women tune in to their mind-body connection. So welcome, Maddie. Thank you so much for joining us.
You covered it. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited
I'm
to be
really looking
here.
forward to this conversation. And if we could begin by your origin story. I mean, as I shared off camera, it kind of made the hair on my arm stand on end to think of a 25-year-old Maddie struggling with a cancer diagnosis. So can you tell us what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. So I was 24 at the time of diagnosis, and I was having some symptoms. I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, so some of these symptoms might sound familiar if you're familiar with that type of cancer. But so I had like some chest pain. I had a cough for over a year. Towards the end, like towards my diagnosis, I like couldn't catch my breath. And then I started having some swollen lymph nodes in my armpit. So that's what kind of drove me to like be on alert. I was on a flight home from London from a work trip, and my chest pain started becoming really bad. The lymph nodes were still there after a few weeks. I was having like vein pain in my arm. And so basically right when I landed, I went to urgent care. They did an EKG and told me that I need to get to the ER essentially. So once I was there, they did the x-ray and they found a mass in my chest, and that kind of started the like diagnosis process. So August 1st, 2018, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And what did you do with that diagnosis? I mean, what was the
Yeah.
process like for you? I know I'm digressing a little bit, but I just think this is
Yeah.
so interesting and important for the listeners
Yeah.
and viewers to kind of go, okay, first of all, listen to your body and speak
Yes.
up for yourself and take the diagnosis, but also I'll let you fill in the
Mhm.
blank.
Yeah, definitely. And I too think it's important to talk through because, I was so young. You're in a state of like you think you're invincible and nothing bad can happen, but obviously anything can happen. And I think it is just so important to take care of our bodies and listen to them. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But So yeah, so once I was diagnosed, then I had to go through chemo and radiation treatment. So that was about 6 months. During that time, I honestly, like, I was not healthy before at all. Like, just ate whatever, binge drank every weekend, like a classic 24-year-old.
Mhm.
Um, and during treatment, I honestly just ate kind of whatever I could, just wanted to, like, obviously keep my weight up, eat whatever sounded good because barely
Mhm.
anything did. So lots of carbs. And then afterwards was for me when things started to kind of shift because post treatment, not a lot of people talk about this, but if you've had cancer, you, I'm sure, can relate. But once active treatment ends and your doctors are like, okay, you're good, we'll see you in a few
Yeah,
months for your scans,
right.
it's this
Good
really
luck with that.
scary, good
Mhm.
luck. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. It's this like really scary feeling
Mhm.
of like, wait, now what? Like, you're not watching me. I'm terrified that the cancer is going to come back. How do I eat now? Like, what do I put into my body to not make this happen ever again? And there's like kind of no support there most of the time for us as cancer survivors. And so that's when I started kind of diving into things myself. I even asked my oncologist, like, should I be eating differently? And he was like, no, just, follow the Mediterranean diet. I'm like, I don't even know what that
What that
means.
means, right? I mean, I have to go to the Mediterranean? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Right. Like, literally no clue. Um, and so, yeah, so then I started kind of looking into, maybe becoming a nutritionist or whatever, but I couldn't go back to school full time at the time. So then I found the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And to start, I did their general health coaching program. And that was a year long and like completely changed my life. I had some physical side effects after treatment as well. And once I shifted my diet, like they literally all went away.
That's amazing.
Um, so that was for me that sold me in terms of like, okay, food can be medicine. And I also want to help other people in this kind of phase, like rebuild their strength and understand their bodies and listen to their bodies again.
Right. So let's talk about hormones as it
Yeah.
relates to this, right? Because
Yes.
we think of ourselves as, our reproductive hormones, our metabolic
Yeah.
hormones, our, neurotransmitters, forgetting
Hmm.
that they're all part of the same symphony, right? So
Yes,
I'm
exactly.
tell us your impression and how you
Yeah.
work with first assessing hormones and then
Yeah.
improving hormonal balance for fertility or for just general health.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, so I'll kind of rewind too with my own kind of
Yeah.
experience with my
Yeah.
own hormones because I've had hormonal imbalances forever. I have PCOS, which I
Okay.
didn't actually find out about until a few years ago. And so post treatment, I was, really taking care of my body. I felt like I was eating healthy, working out, but my period never really came back after treatment. I would only get like 2 to 3 periods a year. And then also chemo can reduce the kind of your fertility, right?
Right.
Um, and so I was nervous about that. And I was into more holistic health. So I found a naturopath. And she started doing, lots of tests and different things. And she was like, your hormones are a mess and you have PCOS. And I was like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because even at 15, my period didn't start naturally. So they put me on birth control, but
Mhm.
no one looked deeper into that, you
Right.
know?
Right. I know. I
So
wish that was not the case, that it wasn't
I
that.
know.
And I understand you don't want to put a 15-year-old through the rigors of all the testing, but if you could at
Yeah.
least do a simple blood test to
Yeah.
understand what it is you're working with and why you're then prescribing, a
Right.
birth control pill to get regular cycles.
Hmm.
The person who's going on the birth control pill has an understanding
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something different about this one day. Maybe I don't
Right.
do it at 15 years old, but maybe my
Right.
mom can help me, like by
Yeah.
making different meals and having me not be the bagel pizza pasta kid.
Oh, totally. And that's
Yeah,
all I ate,
yeah,
literally.
yeah, yep, yep, yeah. So
So
you made
yeah.
these changes and did your periods resume?
Yes. Yeah.
Ta-da!
So I know, incredible. So yeah, she essentially that was when my eyes opened to cortisol and obviously estrogen and progesterone balance and like all of these different things. And I didn't even realize that's also when I went and got my hormone health certification.
Mhm.
But we have over 50 hormones in our body. And like you said, they're all working together constantly and they're all speaking to each other. And when one or a few are imbalanced, they all become kind of out of whack. Right. So,
It's a
yeah,
chain. It's like a symphony. If you've
exactly.
got one string instrument out of harmony, the whole performance
Hmm.
is going to sound pretty wonky. It's going to get pretty
Right.
wonky. So yes, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And as
Yeah.
you know, but I'm going to say this for the listening and viewing audience,
Mm-hmm.
PCOS is not just a reproductive hormone issue. It
Mm-hmm.
is a metabolic hormone issue. So
Yeah.
long after baby making time is done, this can
Mm-hmm.
have really serious implications on your heart health, on your bone health, on your brain health. So
Mm-hmm.
given that it can really be reversed and
Yeah.
improved through lifestyle changes, if you have a diagnosis of PCOS out there, please listen up. Reach out to
Mm-hmm.
us because we really can help shift that pattern. My own daughter
Yeah.
had PCOS and no longer has PCOS. So
Yeah.
I applaud you and I applaud her and anybody
Yeah.
else
It's
who's willing
amazing.
to make that change. We've just come off PCOS Awareness Month, so let's keep
Yes.
awareness going into October and beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so cool that we I think we're taught that we don't really like have control over our health, and in reality we really do. We just need to learn because women we're not taught anything about our hormones or our health until we want to have babies, and then we start kind of diving deeper into these things. But I think even before that it's so important to understand what's going on inside.
Without a doubt. I mean, if I ruled
Mhm.
the world, everybody would be tested at least age 27 because
Yeah.
at that point you know whether or not you might want to have children. And even if you
Hmm.
don't, you kind of want to know what are things looking like then when you can
Right.
make the change so that if and when it comes to be baby making time, you're not then scrambling because that's where people then find themselves
Hmm.
rushing into IVF, still in
Right.
ill health, right? So
Right.
those IVF docs, bless their hearts, are still only
Hmm.
able to stimulate the eggs in the health they're in, retrieve the eggs in the health they're in, make embryos from that
Hmm.
state of health or dis-ease, and
Yeah.
and then that baby is then set up for for disorders as well. As we know,
Hmm.
PCOS is a genetic inheritance from our grandmother. So if you're
Mm,
having a female baby, then you kind of really want to help break that chain so that you're not setting her
hmm.
up for a PCOS dilemma as well. So
Right.
tell me, how do you take a client through
Hmm.
your one-on-one or your program? What does it
Yeah.
look like? So what can she
Yeah.
expect?
Yeah. So we always, so like I said, those pillars, nutrition, movement, stress management, right? I find that those tend to be the biggest ones that we can work on and see results fairly quickly.
Mhm,
When I work one-on-one with people, I always work minimum 6 months because it does
mhm,
take time to make changes, stay consistent, all of that. The first step I always take is the nutrition piece because I
mhm,
really want to see like what's going on right now. I have everyone track, not like calories or anything, but I just want to see like, are we having breakfast? Are we having enough protein? Are we having healthy fats? Because again, the internet and just the life we live now, it's so confusing. Like no one understands what do I eat? What do I not eat? How many calories? How like do I need to avoid carbs? And I think with PCOS specifically, carbohydrates can be a scary thing because of sometimes, it can come with insulin resistance and those different things. And so it's really about focusing on what you're eating now, balancing blood sugar, and adding in lots of protein to help support the body. So that's kind of where we start, and
mhm.
also reducing processed foods and sugars
What,
as best we
please,
can.
let's eliminate them
Yeah,
altogether,
I
because
know.
frankly, I think it's harder to reduce than to eliminate.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
if there's a packaged something in the house, it's a
yeah,
lot harder to say no to it than if it's not in the house, right?
100%. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
and if you're
Yeah.
not having that packaged thing, you're having probably some good fiber from the vegetables
Hmm.
that you're eating, or even the slow carb, slow digesting carbs that are going to give you
Right.
the fiber that are important for your microbiome, which are then important
Yeah.
for your hormones, and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Let's
Yeah,
talk, if you will,
exactly.
a little bit about the movement. What kind of movement are you recommending for
Yeah.
circulation?
Yeah. So a lot of the times I see women coming to me and even myself, I was doing like HIIT class, like I was waking up at 5 a.m. every morning going to Orange Theory. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's when my naturopath was like, stop doing that. So I see that a lot, like pushing ourselves so hard in our workouts, but then not moving the rest of the day. Like then we're just at our desk and then on our couch and then in bed. So I talk a lot about adding in more movement throughout the day, getting I think a step count can be helpful. A step count
Mhm.
goal can be helpful. So around 7,000 steps, I recommend. So
Mhm.
how can we increase that? Can we take breaks from work, once an hour, get up, move around a little bit, make sure during lunch you're walking,
Mhm.
even if it's just 10 minutes. So natural, like move. That's why I say movement versus exercise, because I really believe in like moving our bodies more during the day.
Right. And I say circulation rather than even than exercise as
Oh,
well, because that's
I
the
like
ultimate
that.
goal of it, right? Is to get blood
Right.
circulating through the muscles and the tissues. And I think when
Yes.
we, and of course, women, people with ovaries and uteruses, that's what my daughter's always correcting me when I say women.
Mm.
We want targeted circulation to these organs
Hmm.
of, reproduction and the organs of elimination that live right nearby. So that's
Right.
not going to happen while you're sitting in front of a Zoom camera for 7 hours on
Right.
end,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've put together a free 28-day detox masterclass that you can access by clicking on the link below. And now let's go back to our show.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I like circulation.
moreover, I love that you're saying, get up and get out as much as possible
Hmm.
because obviously the sunlight, right? I mean, if you're going
Yes.
to get up and face the sun and move versus
Hmm.
getting up at 5 a.m. at dark o'clock, going into
Right.
a fluorescent lit room to
Right.
overexert, like that's just not
Hmm.
giving our bodies the natural rhythms of appropriately rising cortisol so that you're not
Yeah,
spiking it throughout the day. So yeah, love
exactly.
that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Day just a little bit more pleasant, right?
Oh
And
my gosh, for sure. If I'm inside all day, I'm like depressed by the end of the day. I'm like,
Mhm.
what? I didn't even like see the sunlight. Yeah, for sure. So getting out, getting fresh air, it's so important. And like looking at nature, even if it's just like a tree, it calms our nervous system.
Yeah.
So yeah, I focus a lot on that. And then I'm a yoga instructor as well. So I call myself a yoga pusher, because
A yoga pusher.
a yoga
I
pusher
love
because I
that.
want as many people to try yoga as possible.
What style of
Um,
yoga do you prefer?
so I teach vinyasa
Mhm.
and as well as like sculpt, so
Mhm.
yoga with weights too.
Mhm. Beautiful.
And I love yin as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. For some good restoring and stretching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. And here's the thing. I hope you don't mind that I keep chiming in here.
No,
I'm just so
no,
excited about the
please.
conversation.
Yeah.
Whether it's yoga in the
Yeah.
Ayurvedic tradition, Qigong or Tai Chi in the other Eastern
Mm,
medicine traditions, all of these are moving meditations
yeah.
that have a lot more benefit than pumping muscles, right? They actually
Right.
do beneficially affect our brains, our neurotransmitters, so that the
Hmm.
whole body, like, neurotransmitters live and are developed in our gut. So if we're just
Hmm.
pushing, 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 then we're not producing serotonin and we're
Yeah.
feeling, as you say, kind of down at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I love
Hmm.
that you're a yoga pusher.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I love it. And yeah, and another thing about yoga too, because I talk about it in terms of course, like exercise and movement, but also mindfulness and stress management.
Mhm.
Like when you're in similar to meditation, when you're in a yoga class and you're holding poses that are difficult or you're breathing in a way that's a little bit more difficult than naturally, like you're pushing through discomfort on
Mhm.
purpose. And
Mhm.
that helps us push through discomfort in other ways in life as well outside of the yoga room. So I just think it's amazing, mind, body, everything.
Absolutely. Now, do you use, you mentioned here cycle syncing
Yeah.
and tracking. Do you
Yes.
use different yoga poses at different times in the cycle, or am I taking this a bit too?
Oh, I don't do that, but I love that idea.
Yeah, so here, I've got an online course that I promote on this as well. And
Yeah.
again, my lens is Chinese medicine, and I
Hmm.
and Qigong is the moving meditation that's within our course. And I have
Mm.
this amazing faculty member. She's actually my mentor who
Oh,
teaches different Qigong movements for the 5 phases of the 4 weeks of a menstrual cycle, ideally 4 weeks, because
wow.
really how we move to connect ourselves with our cycles is
Hmm.
also advantageous. We don't want to
Hmm.
be necessarily forcing things when we're trying to, when it's implantation time at a
Right.
time when we've tried to conceive, nor do we want to be,
Hmm.
reducing our movement at a time when we really could use a little bit more. Chi is the term
Hmm.
we use. So I'm glad to have contributed something to your
Oh my gosh,
thought
I love
process.
that. Yeah, no, I love that. That's so cool because I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Our energies are so different in those different phases. So I
Exactly.
love that.
Exactly. And again, you mentioned it earlier. We as women are kind of taught not to pay attention to the
Right.
uniqueness of being a woman and the rhythms
Yes.
of our cycles. And I really feel an advocacy to reclaim that. I mean, I just want
Yeah.
to shout from the rooftops for, women to like, kind of step up and step into your own power,
Hmm.
because we are amazing human
Hmm.
beings, and we
Seriously.
really deserve that recognition for the amazing things that our bodies are, allow us to do. So yeah.
It's so true. It's so, so true. Yeah. And something I've been thinking about a lot lately too is that with birth control, because I mean, I think literally all of my friends, I don't know one friend that wasn't on birth control in high
Right,
school, which I understand, like that's necessary,
right, right.
Um,
Contraception is appropriate at certain times.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. But a lot of us are now in our early 30s, and now everyone's kind of like, wait, do I need to be on this? Like, what is my body going to be like after? I find women to be very nervous about getting off of it, which makes sense if you're on it for 12 years.
Mhm.
And then once you're off it and you start to become in tune with your cycle, if learn and start to educate yourself around it, it's so interesting because, like, luteal phase, for instance, right? Our energy is so much lower
Yes.
and we're not used to that. So it feels almost like scary or something's wrong,
Yeah. Right. When
But then when
something
we
is
start,
finally right again.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Right. It's like that's actually how our bodies are, which is so cool. Like our bodies are meant to feel this way. So
Right.
just a side note, I just think it's so
Yeah.
interesting.
One other side note that I think you would find of interest, being in the field of nutrition, that
Yeah.
in our luteal phase, we are more insulin sensitive. So
Yes.
yeah, so
Hmm.
so so that's kind of why that PMS timeframe has us craving
Hmm.
some of the quick sugars and so forth, but it's also
Right.
why we should not be going for them
Right.
because we are a
Right.
little bit more insulin sensitive, and we're
Yeah.
we're co-creating a problem for the next cycle and for the next cycle. So
Right.
when you have that craving because it's PMS time, I say,
Hmm.
sure, go for the chocolate covered something, but don't go for the
Hmm.
muffin or the
Yeah.
bagel.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
Because we don't
That's
want
why
to
cycle
deprive.
syncing too, I think, can be so helpful with food specifically
Mhm.
as well.
So there's also this idea that you mentioned, when people come to you, they feel that they've tried everything.
Yeah.
What
Hmm.
what do you say to this person who says, I've tried everything and nothing's working?
Yeah. So I hear a lot trying different diets, to lose weight, going to their doctors and getting blood work and everything looks quote unquote normal. They've tried all the workouts, they've tried counting calories. So I always say, like, we have made food and health so confusing. Like, let's get back to the basics. Let's get back to the macronutrients that we need, fiber and micronutrients that we need. So I try to kind of reframe it with that in terms of like, stop listening to all the noise and start listening to your body. And let's focus on the basics of our health,
Yeah.
which again is that balanced meals, protein, healthy fats, healthy carbohydrates, lots of
Mhm.
fiber, movement in a way that you enjoy, not like pushing yourself
Yes.
so hard. And then stress management. Like I really encourage, and I try to really encourage this with my clients. Like every day, there should be at some point, some time that you're just like sitting and listening and not on your phone, like just to calm the nervous system,
Mhm.
whether that's yoga or breath work or even a 5-minute meditation. Like we
Mhm.
need that time every single day to come back to ourselves and
Yes.
breathe and like not listen to all of the things
Yes.
everywhere out in the world.
Yes. I encourage folks to, because we are addicted to our phones, use your phone by putting an alarm at, so
Hmm.
when you wake up, that's the first one, because even before you get out of bed, you can spend
Yeah.
5 minutes of breathing, like, kind of,
Yes.
like intention for the day. Then set your
Mm-hmm.
alarm for around 2 or 3 o'clock, because that's often the time that the
Mm,
cortisol levels will start to go a little wonky. So
right.
again, a mini shavasana, or just sitting
Yeah.
and breathing, kind of reclaiming that this is your day to
Yeah.
have for yourself how you want it for yourself, and to set yourself up
Mm-hmm.
for the evening, so that you're not pushing
Yeah.
through that 2 or 3 o'clock hour, maybe with a cup of coffee or something like that, and then setting
Yeah.
yourself up for sort of the consequence of that at 7 or 8 o'clock. And then once
Right.
again, at not, at bedtime, have it be part, we wash our face, we brush our teeth. How about just
Mm-hmm.
another 5 minutes of breathing time, so that you,
Yes.
by the time you're going to sleep, you're actually, you've adjusted somewhat. And mind you,
Yeah.
of course, and I'm sure you say the same thing, electronics off at
Yeah.
least an hour before bed, your last
Mm-hmm.
meal of the day at least 2 hours before bed, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can begin the digestion, and
Yeah.
and then trying to, have your water throughout the day, but be
Mm-hmm.
finished by about 6 or 7 o'clock, so you're not, forcing yourself to wake up at night to urinate, because sometimes then
Right.
that triggers the adrenals to say, uh-oh, what should I be thinking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I know. The mind just wants to just jump right on that little monkey rope and start
Yeah.
swimming. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's, yeah, especially middle of the night.
Mhm. So, is there anything that we haven't covered here? I'm peeking over at the list of questions that I had set aside for you, but I want to make sure I
Yeah.
give you time to, kind of share your the pearls that you want people to take away. So,
Yeah.
if there were bullet points that you would say, let's summarize
Mm-hmm.
this talk so that people kind of go, okay, now I know what to do. What would that be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the first one is also to like just take one thing at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once. I think that's when I find people get very overwhelmed. They'll stay consistent for a few weeks and then everything falls off.
Mhm.
So I always say like really try to focus on one thing at a time. Maybe it's like your nutrition for a month, then the next one kind of movement and exercise, then the next one stress or something like that. So that's number one. Just try to do things in a very sustainable way.
Mhm.
Um, and I think number one, focusing on your nutrition, like really taking a look at it. I do recommend like tracking even in a iPhone note or something for a week
Mhm.
and just seeing where you're at.
Mhm.
Tracking the amount of protein that you're getting. Ideally you're getting 80, 90, 100 grams of protein a day.
Mhm. And it's not that
So
hard to get that, if you really, if
yeah,
when you start tracking, you realize, oh, I'm getting that. Or if I'm
totally.
not, it's not that hard to get there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and paying attention to like little habits as well. Like, are you eating breakfast? Are you having coffee before your breakfast? Can we
Mhm.
switch that?
Mhm.
Can we prep lunch maybe on a Sunday so that you can have healthy lunches during the week? So there's just things to unpack, and I think it can help with like tracking for a week to see what those kind of patterns are that you can then start to work towards.
Mhm.
So that's probably like what I would say, like number one and two.
The nutrition, and may I'm going
Yeah,
to presume that
yeah,
you would agree that for this nutrition, these are organic,
yeah,
pesticide-free, hormone-free choices,
yes.
so that you're not taking in things that you then need to detox in order to
Right.
in order
Yeah,
to get the nutrients out of them. Okay.
exactly. Yeah. And with that alone, like I find that people really notice a big difference pretty like immediately, right? Like the inflammation starts to go down, you start to get more energy, you're not crashing in the afternoon, you're not craving sugar, intensely every day.
You're not
Brain fog
constipated
starts to
or
improve. Yeah, exactly,
well, yeah.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
fantastic.
Yeah, so I find that to be a pretty I would say like first kind of focus,
Okay.
definitely. And then the movement, just starting to move your body a little bit more throughout the day, trying different types of workouts. I think that can be helpful. So many different classes and things like that that we can have access to now, which I think is good. So Pilates, yoga, the more kind of like calming exercises, I would say to start just like tapping into a little bit. I
Mhm.
think a good kind of gauge there too is like after a workout, about an hour after, how do you feel? Do
Yeah.
you feel energized or do you feel exhausted?
Yeah.
If you feel exhausted, it's probably time to do something different.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. That, again, we are our best doctors when we give ourselves the
right.
time to tune in. Yeah.
Exactly. Um, and then the last piece, again, I would try to add in even, I love what you mentioned too, like alarms during the day. I think that's so helpful. I think adding in something 5 minutes, even in the morning or at night, just start with like one kind of time of day. I
Mhm.
love the app Insight Timer. I don't know if you
Yes.
ever use that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I've used
Um,
several of the apps,
yeah.
and even just go, you can even go to Spotify, right? If
Yeah,
you don't have
exactly.
to get another app, you can go to
Right.
guided meditations on Spotify or Apple, or
Hmm.
any of the podcast stations. If it feels like,
Exactly.
oh gosh, I don't want to commit to yet another thing, you already
Right.
got the thing. So instead of
Yeah.
listening to either a podcast episode that's going to get your knickers in a twist, how
Yeah.
about listening
Yeah.
to 10 minutes of a guided meditation? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah, you could search guided meditation. Yeah, and Insight Timer is totally free.
Mhm.
I use it every single night and every morning, and it's great.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I feel like those are kind of my like high level top things that I always want people to focus on. And honestly, if you did those consistently for 6 months, like you would see a really big difference.
Yeah. And as I'm listening to you, I'm realizing while you can take one thing at a time, you could also
Hmm.
take 50% of three things at a time, right? So
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
you're not saying, okay, I don't have to think about my movement
Hmm.
until month two. What if you
Right.
did 50 to 80% of your nutrition and movement? Then you're getting
Hmm.
more than double the benefits while
Yeah.
not, having to feel overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
oh, and by the way,
Exactly.
there's one other thing that I'd like to add because I
Yeah.
think that we overlook it far too often. It's not
Mm-hmm.
just what we put in our bodies, it's what we put on our bodies. And it's how we
Mm-hmm.
surround ourselves with potentially
Mm-hmm.
hormone disrupting, in fact, hormone disrupting chemicals,
Yeah.
whether it be our toothbrush, toothpaste, dental floss. If you're using a dental floss that glides easily, how does that glide easily? It's covered with Teflon. So you're
Mm.
popping Teflon and which is petroleum right into your bloodstream if you're getting any bleeding gums. So little things like that, like
Mm-hmm.
look at your shampoo.
Yeah.
Can you switch that out as soon as possible?
Yeah.
Look at the lotions that you might be putting on. Could you just replace it with a sesame oil or jojoba oil? You're going to get
Mm-hmm.
better moisturizing, frankly, without all of the chemicals that if you look at that ingredients list, you're like, what the heck is this? Well, it's
Right.
chemical. Yeah. So
Right. I
yeah.
totally agree. Yeah. And that too, I think can happen in a slow kind of, right? It's like, oh, I need a new shampoo. I'm out of shampoo. Let me get a
Yeah.
better ingredient one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which you
Do you
probably
have,
won't get at the big box stores. So,
right.
so think about that now and maybe do a little shopping for when you want to replace it.
Yeah. Yeah. Curious too, if do you have like brand recommendations or anything that on your website or
I do,
anything?
and they're all listed on my website. It's called
Okay.
healthuniversity.co, not .com, and university
Okay.
is spelled YOU, and it's there in the show notes. There's a
Hmm.
shop page, and I have just curated a ton of
Oh,
recommendations.
amazing.
Yeah, and so I mean, again, like these are guides. It's not required that you use these very things, but I've done a little bit of a deep dive to make sure that we're not just using the environmental working group, which thank God it's there, but
Mm.
mm, it's not as complete perhaps as it could
Okay.
be.
Okay.
There are companies that kind of sneak through
Okay.
because they meet a certain threshold, but they may not
Mm.
be as clean as possible. So yes,
Okay.
go to the shop page at healthuniversity.co. There's a whole set of recommendations for personal care products, home cleaning products,
Mm.
supplements, all of that kind of stuff. That
Okay.
yeah,
Good to know because I'm always looking for, I get those questions all the time and
yeah,
myself, I'm always looking for
yeah,
recommendations.
yeah.
And good to know about, yeah, the
Mhm.
EWG
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And I even have on the website, a free masterclass on a simple 28-day detox with a
Mm.
simple PDF guide because again, like you said, I want to make this not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And we can all do something for 28 days, especially if we're guided,
Hmm.
especially if there's a protocol set in place. So, that
Right.
and this is not to replace what you're doing. It's in addition
Hmm.
to what you're doing, right? Because we need to be
Hmm.
eating whole foods, eating healthfully, not meal replacements, but just support for detoxification
Yeah.
and methylation pathways. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
Well, this has been so much fun. And again, I want to make
Yeah.
sure that I give you a chance to share with the audience how they can reach you, and it will be in the
Yes.
show notes as well. But let's hear from you.
Amazing. Thank you
Mhm.
so much for having me. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram. It's at Maddie Pollock _ health. And then my website is
Okay.
maddiepollackhealth.com. So
That makes it easy. That makes it easy.
yeah.
You're not doing the difficult thing like I am with Health University, but university spelled YOU. I thought it was so clever, but then I thought,
It is clever.
well, great. So again, it'll be in the show notes. People can reach out to you. And are you able to
Perfect.
then see people like virtually? You
Yeah,
do online support as
I see
well?
everyone virtually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Great.
all
So people from
virtual.
outside the state can get you just as easily as those who are
hmm
inside the state.
Yeah,
Yes. Wonderful.
exactly.
Well, Maddie,
Yeah.
thank you so much
Thank
for joining us
you.
today. And we look forward to perhaps another conversation down the road a piece. I'm sure that this conversation could be elaborated upon, a deeper dive, but out of
Totally.
respect for your time and the listening and viewing audience's time, I try to wrap it up just at about that 30-minute mark so that we can all
Perfect.
then start implementing some of these things that we're learning. So
Yeah.
viewers and listeners, thank you for your time. If there's anything that you've heard today that you think is a benefit for someone you love, and we know that there is, please share it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave comments so that we can respond to them. We're here to support you in ways in which you need support. So if you can direct us with what you'd like to hear, we're always here for you. And we finish all of our episodes at Health University with the phrase "class dismissed." If you want more episodes like this at Health University, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you at our next episode of Health University. But for now, class dismissed.